farmers earn money by with the stage of the water cycle. Farmer earn money with the water cycle, and traders earn money with the Ishimoku vegetal cycle, the vegetal Ishimoku cycle. So we are on the number 10 inside this document, and I will show you and I will explain to you about the VIC, vegetal Ishimoku cycle. So let's first of all talk about the water cycle. You know that when we were in the primary school, they told us that here we have the condensation, right? Here we have the condensation of the water, where the rivers are sending. If you ask to ChatGPT, what is the water cycle, give the stages. You have, first of all, evaporation. Oh, I said condensation. I want to say evaporation. You have, first of all, evaporation, where the heat of the liquid water in the lakes, the rivers, turn into water vapor, into gas, and goes and rise to the atmosphere. So we have, first of all, the evaporation here, right? The evaporation. The evaporation is like, here is a river, the water is inside here, and then the gas and the vapor goes up to the sky to create what? To create a cloud. So we have now the cloud that need to be created. So the stage number two. So stage number two of the water cycle is to create the cloud. Here is a cloud here, right? The creation of the cloud is called the condensation. The condensation is when the cool change, the vapors change into tiny liquid water droplets to form a cloud. After that cloud is formed, now there is precipitation. The precipitation is when the rains start to fall. That I will call it rainfall here, rainfall, all right? When you have the cloud like this, and then the rain start to flow, to fall, so to fall. So that's what we have almost here. When the rain start to fall, what happens is that there is the ground down there. So I will call it, ChatGPT call it collection. Collection when the that's the collection phase, but I will divide it a little bit. So I will call it here collection. Let's call it collection. Collection, the stage number 4. This is when we have a soil, a ground like this, and then here is the cloud. The rain start to fall on the ground, and then the ground start to absorb the water, right? I will call it collection. After collection, we have something that we call um, infiltration, right? We have something that we call infiltration. The stage number 5, infiltration. Infiltration of the water inside the ground. It is during infiltration that those water droplets enters inside the ground and start running through the rivers, and start filling rivers, and start going to the sea, and start running all over across the whole earth to distribute the water across every ground after the rain. And it is at this stage that when you plant a seed, right? When you plant a seed inside the ground, the seed will go with its roots and try to find the water that are inside the ground here to feed himself and start producing. Like if you plant, for example, cocoa or corn, and start producing some corn to give the farmer some crops. Those crops that the farmer heal, he will go to the market and sell it to make some money with it. So, but there is a last stage. There is a last stage that is called the storage of the water. The storage of the water is when the water goes under the ground and stay there. And that's when people sometimes dig the ground and find, so people sometimes dig the hole on the ground and find like wells like that. Like you dig the hole to try to find water under the ground, like maybe at 15 meter down, 50 meter below the surface, to try to find water to they call it in French le forage, le forage, the drill. Okay, they try to create drills. Drills give water to the farmers, even to normal people, to civilians. That's the last stage that you call the storage. So this is the cycle of water, right? This is the cycle of water. This cycle of water, those are the stages of the cycle. And this cycle of water, this is the cycle of water that gives money to the farmer. Nobody can argue with it. This cycle repeats himself every year and give money to the farmer. Without this cycle of water, no crops, no seed will grow. There will be no life, because we are eating at stage 5, when the seed goes inside the ground with their roots and find water to feed themselves, to nurture themselves, to grow. The cycle of water is very necessary, because inside this cycle of water, there's also the sun somewhere here. There's also the sun somewhere here. That is shiny and creating heat to make the rivers, the rivers to create vapor. That vapor that goes to inside to the atmosphere to create this cloud, right? Okay, so this is the cycle of water that give money to the farmers. The same thing is happening for trading. Is happening for trading. For a trader, the Vegeta Ishimoku cycle gives money to the trader. The Vegeta Ishimoku cycle gives money to the trader. And that's what I will show you now. That's what I will show you now with an example. So we will take this example and I will explain to you the whole complete cycle. In this whole rise of the price at this level, we had a whole cycle here, a complete whole cycle of the movement. So let me explain to you that now. So we have here the table, this table. So the Vegeta Ishimoku cycle has set up each stage. Those are the 6 stages like this. The Vegeta Ishimoku has 6 stages, six stages, exactly as the cycle of water. We have the origin, the reversal, the transition, the new trend, the correction, and the push trend, and then you start back again at the origin. So how do you use this table? You use this table in this way. First of all, the origin of the cycle, the origin of the cycles, you take the origin of the cycle you take you need first of all to pick the setup of the origin of the cycle in the weekly time frame. So basically what you need to know is that to understand the Vic, you need two time frame. You have to need the weekly time frame and the H4 time frame. Exactly this time frame, don't change anything. So on the weekly time frame, you go and find the origin, one setup. It can be Tenkan setup. We take here Tenkan setup. the origin setup Tenkan, right? And then you go down on the 4 hour, then now you start to draw the cycles, the cycle is itself, the stages of the cycle, because we have the cycle is one and we have 6 stages of the cycle. So like this H4 cycle flow, right? Those are all of the 6 stages: the origin, the reversal, the transition, the neutron. Okay, let me show you it. So first of all, let's go on the weekly time frame and pick one setup. Let's just take this setup here, right here. This is a Tenkan setup, right? If you see very well, this is the setup, Tenkan setup number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the Tenkan setup 5, right? Of in the weekly time frame. It touched here and then the price goes to the upside. So this will be the origin. Then when you pick a setup like this, then you go on 4 hour. You skip daily. You go on 4 hour. You go on 4 hour, and then you will see this, exactly this rectangle. Okay. And at this level, you will see that we have yeah, the origin setup is this one. From the setup in the weekly till Kijun. In 4 hour, now we are in 4 hour. So this is the origin setup. This is the origin stage. Sorry. This is the origin stage. It starts here from the empty space on 4 hours. So the space that touches the weekly setup till Kijun here. And then the next stage will be this one. From this inverted Tenkan till SSB. This will be the reversal stage. After that, we have the transition stage. The transition stage is this one, and the transition stage is this one. I will call it T, the transition stage. The transition stage starts from the inverted Kijun inside the cloud, yeah, right? Till when Kijun goes above SSB here, till when you have the KSB course here, right? This is when the transition stage finish. So this is the transition stage from this is the move like this, this V. So after that, we have the new trend. The new trend starts from when Kijun goes above SSB till Tenkan come and rebend on the future here. Tenkan come and rebend here. So when Kijun cross SSB, the new trend start, right? And then the new trend will create this KSB, and then this KSB with TK correction, right? This KSB, then this KSB with TK correction, and then it will create a Kijun setup inside, an SSA setup, a Tenkan setup number 2, Tenkan setup number 3. You know that when you have Tenkan setup 1, 2, 3 from the setup number 3, you can start knowing and expecting that the Tenkan will start bending to the downside. When Tenkan start bending to the downside here, that's when these new trends finish. That's when these new trend finish. Okay. So that is then the new trend. And then after that, we have the correction. The correction is this part just right here. This is the correction stage. I will call it C. This one was the new trend N, that I call it N. All right. So the correction now, if you if you zoom very well, you will see that TK cross back to the downside here, but it is a tiny, tiny, it's not very visible if you don't zoom very well, but TK cross Tenkan went below Kijun at this level. That's why it is a correction. So, but this correction starts from the empty setup just above here till the correction finish here. Okay, so all of this is the correction stage. The price corrected here, right? So after that, we have the the push trend. The push trend is this one. The push trend. The push trend is where after the correction, the trend continue to push to the upside. This is it, the push trend. After the correction, the trend continue to push to the upside till Tenkan bend down again. When Tenkan bend to the downside, it is the end of the push trend. So this is the cycle. This is the whole complete cycle. And I will take each one of them to explain to you what are the setup that you find inside each one of them. So, but we have the origin. The origin, this is the one. Why it is the origin is because it is touching the weekly setup. That called this stage the origin stage of the cycle. Then after that, we have the reversal. This is the reversal. When you know that the trend is reversing, the reversal comes from the inverted Tenkan to SSB. After that, you have the transition. The transition stage is when the new trend must be created, but the reversal is already finished. And then there is a phase where you have the transition. So we have something like this, exactly like the cycle of water. We have, first of all, the origin here, the origin here. Then after the origin, we have the reversal, okay, reversal. After the reversal, we have the transition, the transition. After the transition, we have the new trend. After the transition, we have the new trend. So we have the new trend, here, right? After the new trend, we have the correction. After the new trend, we have the correction. After the correction, we have what? The push trend. The push trend. After the correction, we have what? The push trend. So we have all of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 Vegeta Ishimoku cycle. This is the Vegeta Ishimoku cycle. We have all of the 6 cycle of Vegeta Ishimoku like this, like the cycle of water. So this is that you see right here. Exactly. And all trend follow the same pattern. And that cycle repeat each time. If you see, it will repeat each time. Let us look at it very well with a closer look. Let us look at it very well with a closer look. Let me try to select all of this and to drag it. Select it. Let me try to select all of this and to drag it down, like this, right? So so this is the Vegeta Ishimoku cycle, exactly this picture, the Vegeta Ishimoku cycle. So we have it here, just right here. So let me just erase this and start back. So we had here the weekly setup, right? This is the weekly setup, the Tenkan setup on weekly. So let us talk about the origin setup. What does it include? The origin stage, sorry. You have the origin stage, we take into consideration this part of the market. So now let me explain to you the origin. The origin has what inside? The origin has the empty the empty setup till the inverted setup. The origin setup. I don't know if we write origin if E at the end. Okay. So there's no E here in English. So that's the stage numbers. The stage numbers. So I'll call it stage numbers. So for the first stage, the origin stage, we have first of all the empty. So in 4 hours, this setup is called what? Empty, right? This is the empty setup here, right? So we have something like this. This is the whole origin. So you start here with the empty setup here, right? Then after that, what do we have? We have here the Tenkan 3, 4, 5. Why do I call it Tenkan 3, 4, 5? Tenkan 3, yeah, this candle. It's because, right, when you see on the document, I wrote here Tenkan 3, 4, 5. It's because you know that since Tenkan and Kijun crossed themselves to the downside from this point, the price went and touched Tenkan here one time, right? I count it one time. And then the price went down. This candle closed below Tenkan, right? This red candle closed below Tenkan. Then all of this is the second time that the candle touched Tenkan. So, and then this red candle closed below this Tenkan. And then the third time when this big green candle went, it will be the third time that Tenkan is touched. So, and we know that with Ishimoku, Ishimoku has this property that each time there is an inclined line like this of an Ishimoku line, when the price goes down, when it touches the first time, the Ishimoku line will make it continue to the downside. But the second time, it will continue again to the downside. But starting from the third time, this price will not keep continuing to the downside, but it will reverse. We know that, yes, the Ishimoku line create the first, second rebound, but from the third one, it will reverse to the upside. You know that Ishimoku has this property, like if Tenkan is this line, when the price come and touch Tenkan, Tenkan is like a spring. A spring makes object to bounce to the upside, right? Tenkan is like a spring. So for the first one that you touch the spring will make you bounce to the upside very fast. The second time, yes, we can expect the second bounce to make you bounce to the upside. But for the third bounce on the spring, the spring loses its resistance, its strength. That's why from the third bounce, the price doesn't continue to the upside. It starts reversing to the downside. That's what I call here Tenkan 3, 4, 5. Because on the third touch, fourth touch, the fifth touch, the price will not keep. We know that the resistance of the strength of the impulsion has started to reduce. So let me erase a little bit all of this mess. I just wanted to explain to you. Just wanted to explain to you the concept around the bounces. So we had this one. We had this like this. We had something like this, isn't it? You had the empty. After that, we have the Tenkan 3, 4. So the Tenkan 3, 4. Then after that, we have something here. We have here the inverted Tenkan. The Tenkan inverted Tenkan TI. Why? Because what you realize is that at this point in time, look at Tenkan. Tenkan were going down, then went up. So Tenkan did this. So the candle was going down. Then at the third touch here, the candle went above and then came and touched an inverted Tenkan. This one is an inverted Tenkan because this Tenkan were going to the downside, signaling the direction of the price to go into the downside. But now Tenkan is bending to the upside, and then this wick come and touch him in an inverted way. Like Tenkan goes to the upside, but the candles try to go to the downside. So that's what I call it Tenkan, inverted Tenkan. So you have this setup inside. This is it. Yeah, Tenkan inverted. And then after that, you have the Kijun here above. This is a Kijun one, right? So I talk inside the document, the Tenkan 4-5 cancel. So for the Tenkan 4-5 cancel, it's the same thing as Tenkan 3-4-5. So when I say Tenkan 4-5 cancel here, it's just to mean that Tenkan, the resistance of Tenkan has already reached the resistance of the trend of Tenkan already reached its maximum. So from the fourth touch and the five touch, the price will not keep going to the downside. It will be cancelled. Like normally, the behavior of Tenkan is that when the price touches it, Tenkan make it bounce to the downside. The price touches it, Tenkan make it bounce to the downside. But when the price touches it again from the fourth touch, the third touch, the fourth touch, the bounce will be cancelled. That's why I call it cancel. We will look at it at the cancellation on the risk adjust return setup invalidation, right? Because it's like it's invalidate the Tenkan setup on this part. Risk adjust return setup cancel. This is when I will talk to you about a lot of cancel Tenkan 3-4-5. So on the next videos. So now let's keep going. So just consider that these one are the same. Like Tenkan 3-4-5 and Tenkan cancel are the same. But when we look at it, how the cancel produce, what are the mechanics behind the cancel? Because I told you that this is just fractal geometrical analysis. Fractal geometrical analysis that I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to make you a genius. So I will explain to you every detail of it. So those are then the element of the origins. The origin setup has all of these elements, right? The origin has all of these elements. So let me erase it like this. So what we had here, we had then this part of the origin, right? You have the empty setup here. You have the Tenkan 3-4-5 here. You have the inverted Tenkan here, IT. Let me even call it IT. And then you have the Kijun here. From this course, the Kijun has been touched only one time, right? So it's like we have something like this. We first of all have the empty setup here. Then the price move up to the tenkan touch number 3, then the price goes down to the inverted tenkan IC, then the price move up to the kijun. Yeah, right. So it creates a price pattern like this, a complete price pattern inside this stage. So this part of the cycle is called the origin. Okay. So that's what we got. So now let's move to the next part of the cycle. So we had this part of the cycle. The next part of the cycle is the reversal. So this was the origin. Okay. Now the reversal of the cycle has start from the inverted tenkan, right? Start from the inverted tenkan, the reversal. So now let's talk about the reversal. The reversal has this part like this. This is the reversal. This is the reversal. Let's look at setups that are inside the reversal. The setup that are inside the reversal, first of all, on the reversal, you will see that I still put week here, the weekly setup, because this reversal is very close, is still inside the weekly time frame, the weekly setup, Tenkan weekly. This reversal is still inside the weekly. Okay, it is at this level that we have this. You see this? It is still inside, right? It is still inside. So inside the weekly. So that's why I put the reversal also inside the weekly setup. But I will not call it origin. It is the reversal. After the origin, there is a reversal. So, so we are talking about the number 2 here. So that is what we got. So we start first of all from the inverted tenkan here, right? This is an inverted tenkan. This is an inverted tenkan because tenkan is still inclined to the upside, and the candles come and touch the inverted tenkan just right here, right? Okay. So after the inverted tenkan, we got the Kijun 2-3. Kijun 2-3 is the exact same thing that I tried to explain to you a little bit earlier. Let me try to erase this. So we have this for the reversal cycle, right? So this is the inverted tenkan here. And then this one, from this ticket cross here down here, Kijun has not been touched. This one was the first touch that times that Kijun is being touched. But after that, you have that a sort of second touch, right, of Kijun. That doesn't play out. So that's what I call Kijun 2-3. Then after that, we have Kijun 3 cancelled. Is the same thing. When Kijun it has been touched 3 times, it will be cancelled. So, but after that, we have SSA on this setup. SSA is touched now. SSA is touched now, right? So we will have a sort of of cycle like this. When we have, first of all, the inverted tenkan, then the Kijun that has been touched or Kijun cancelled. And then after that, we have an SSA here, SSA, as you see. And after that SSA, we have SSA that can be touched 1 time or 2 times, but SSA sometimes doesn't hold. And then after that SSA, we have SSB. SSB here is the maximum point that the price can, on this stage, the maximum from Tenkan inverted Tenkan to SSB, the maximum point that the price can go and touch. This is the SSB. So then after this SSB, the price went down and created what? An inverted Kijun. An inverted Kijun inside the cloud. Inverted Kijun inside the cloud that I can call IKC. So we had SSB here, SSB here, then inverted Kijun inside the cloud, IKC. IKC. So there is a part where there are some reversal that has Kijun, inverted Kijun. Here we didn't have inverted Kijun anyhow. So this is it. Let us try to find another one. Okay, let us take this one. Let us suppose that we had a weekly setup, which is true. We have a weekly setup at this level. Which is true. You have a weekly setup at this level. No, we don't have one. So let us suppose that we have a weekly setup there. We almost have a Tenkan setup just. Let us suppose that we have a weekly setup because we need to start from the origin. I just try to explain to you something very clear. So this is the origin, right? This whole part is the origin, the original, right? And then now we have till when the candle touches SSB, this whole part is the reversal. You will see that we have here what? How do we call this? The Kijun inverted. This is the whole Kijun inverted as inside the document. We have no Tenkan inverted from this part, but we have the Kijun inverted. That's what I wanted to show you. So it is a little bit different each time. At this level, we have here the origin from the MT to till Kijun. This is the origin. But see, the reversal doesn't have all of this. So sometimes you will see that the reversal will not have a lot of element here. The inverted Tenkan, we don't have any inverted Tenkan on this reversal. This is the reversal. You take the candles. You don't have any inverted Tenkan on this reversal. You only have SSA and SSB, only these two, SSA and SSB on this whole reversal. So the price move the way you want to move. But you know that this is the phase where we are in, the stage where we are in. We can also take this one to try to see how it look like. So this is the origin from the MT setup to the Kijun. Now from this here to the point where the candle touch SSB, we have the reversal. And we have this reversal, but we had something here, the inverted Kijun here, right? The inverted Kijun. And then you have the SSA here, and then you have the SSB. As simple as that. This is the part of the reversal that we had for this one. This is how it looks like. That's exactly how it looks like. So I'm trying to pick up these examples because to make you see that how it looks on different points. Let us say that this is an origin. And then you add here the origin itself. the origin itself, and then from this point till the first candle that touch SSB, you have here all of the reversal, right? On this whole point, you have here the inverted Kijun, the SSA, the inverted Kijun in cloud, IKC, and then the SSB. You see, you add milli element. This one, you also have the Kijun. Yeah, no, you don't have. Yeah, let us say you have something. You also have the Kijun 2-3 here. And yeah, it has been cancelled. Okay, so that's it. You see, right? You add many elements. Okay, so let's move to the next phase. Let me try to erase everything that I did here. Pass. Or let me not erase it. Let me just leave it like that. I'll just put a black line here to make me remember where I was. So now this is where we had what we had. No, that's not here. That's not it. We had something at this level. We had something at this level. So this is where we were, and we was at this level, and I don't like it's not that I don't like anything. So we was at this level. So obviously we have this origin. After that, we have all of this reversal, right? The reason why I take into consideration this inverted Kijun is because the transition, look at the transition, the Kijun inverted. You see that after the end of one stage, this is an inverted Tenkan, right? Is the beginning of the next stage. This is an inverted Tenkan. So if you see the origin and this origin and this reversal stage, you will see that the origin started on the empty part of on this set of empty, and we finish on Kijun somewhere here for this one. But the Tenkan inverted make the start of the when I talk about star, I talk about mostly about the when I talk about star, I talk mostly about the bottom point. I try to take I, I, I try to take the bottom point of the. If you look at this, why is it? The bottom point of the movement. Yeah, this is the bottom point of the movement. The empty setup is the bottom point of the movement here. Till Kijun is the highest point, right? Now the bottom point of the movement for the reversal start from the inverted Tenkan till SSB, right? Till SSB. But even though it is the highest point here, SSB is the highest point of the movement, the inverted Kijun is still a part of the reversal origin. So it is a stage. I take all of the elements that are inside, bottom, but on the Google Sheet, I try to organize it in a way that I start with the bottom point, and then at the end I finish with the highest point. But sometimes the highest point is not the last point of the stage. And in this case, we have the inverted Kijun inverted inside the cloud. Okay, and that's what make the transition begin. That's what make the transition begin. That give the Kijun inverted inside the cloud give the beginning of the transition. So that's what I wanted to emphasize on. So now the transition start. This transition, this is the whole transition. Okay. The transition start when the inverted Kijun inside the cloud there, till when Kijun will goes and cross above SSB here. The transition finish here. So that's why I take this type of shape like this. So what is inside the transition? Inside the transition, we have the inverted Kijun inside the cloud, obviously. Then we have the SSB inverted. I call it also cancer because look at this. We have first of all the inverted Kijun inside the cloud, then the candle moves to the upside, and then you have a touch here, and then we have another. This one is also another touch of SSB. But if we look back from the past, from the point where SSA and SSB cross themselves to the downside here, SSB has not been touched by the candles by any week. But arrive here, we have one touch, two touch, and then we continue third touch. So from the third touch, you know already that the SSB will be cancelled. And then we have this SSB cancelled already. And then when the candle come again and touch like this is what I call SSB inverted as a setup. The setup SSB inverted. The setup SSB inverted. This is it. Exactly. So we have this SSB cancel, a sort of SSB cancel here, right? Because it is SSB 3434, right? And then you have the SSB inverted, right? SSB inverted, like this. You remember about that, I talk a lot about this setup. It's when you know, that's why the transition is a little bit something that tricky to spot on. But this is the SSB cancel. SSB cancel is when Tenkan is going outside. The SSB inverted is when the Tenkan is going out, is about to go out like this. But the candle are touching SSB in an inverted way because SSB is going to the downside. But this movement will end up to the upside. That's why I call it SSB inverted. So let me try to erase the mess that I just wrote. So we have Kijun inverted inside the cloud, SSB cancel here, SSB inverted is the same thing. I took it as the same thing. And then after that, we have Tenkan inverted cancel, Tenkan inverted and Tenkan inverted. So Tenkan inverted, let us go on other. What's happening? Let us go. I don't know what happened to my graphics. Is it the internet? I'm trying to check. Let us go on. Did I lose all of the graphics? If I lost all of the graphics, okay, I didn't lose it. Okay, let us go and look at other transition. Let us look at this one. Look at this level. We had what the origin, then we have the Kijun inverted, the reversal, right? Now, look, as soon as the candle touches SSB here, this is the start of the transition till Kijun goes out of the, this is the transition, till Kijun goes above SSB here. So all of this part is the transition. Look at this. On this point, the only setup that we have here is it is the cancelled, the SSB cancelled here because the candle clearly cancelled. And then you have the SSB inverted here. This is the SSB inverted here. You see, we didn't have any Kijun inverted inside the cloud for this transition. You see how it looks like. Tenkan went above SSB here. And then the candle went and touched Tenkan and SSB at the same time. That's the SSB inverted. Because SSB is going to the downside, the inclination are going to the downside, but the price will move to the upside. That's why I call it SSB inverted. During the transition, we have SSB inverted inside. So you see how the transition look like for this case, right? It is not the same movement like this one. It doesn't have the Kijun inverted inside the cloud. And then let's take this one for example. So we know that the transition start as soon as the candle touch SSB till when Kijun goes above SSB. This is the transition. But look at how the candle, this is the transition phase. Look at how the candle, what the candle gave us. The candle gave us only this inverted SSB, even though it didn't touch SSB, but it is an inverted SSB. Because SSB goes to the downside, but the candle will go to the upside during the transition. Will go to the upside. You see how the transition give you is very tricky. It's not something you will not have this type of movement, a logical movement. It will be a very awkward movement that you can only have this something like this inside, like the first example. So let us try to look at another element of transition. Let us look at how the transition just played out for this level. So this is the whole transition from when the candle touched SSB till when Kijun goes out above SSB. This is the transition phase. So look, what did we have? We almost have almost nothing. Apart from this inverted SSB here, this thing can't touch. Almost had no setup inside. So the transition is sometimes very tricky to to, to decide, but it exists in a sort of awkward way. As soon as the candle touch SSB here, it is a transition phase till Kijun goes out of the cloud above the SSB. So here we have a lot. We have inverted Kijun inside the cloud here. We even have inverted SSA inside the cloud, inside here, right? We have SSB touch. We have a lot of setup here. We have another SSB here, right? So you have like, I didn't put it on the transition, inverted SSA. Sometimes we can have inverted SSA. Should I put it? During the transition, we can have inverted SSA. I should put it there. I should put it, isn't it? Let me put it also on the French version of the document. So that's what we got, right? That's what we got. All right. So I want to show you something on the present price on the Bitcoin now. On the present price on the Bitcoin, no, there's nothing I can show. There's nothing I can show. Anyway. Okay, there's nothing I can show you. So let's go to the next phase. That will be the new trend. Let's go to the next phase. That will be the new trend. The next stage is the new trend. Let me try to erase this one. So we remember that we had the origin setup here, the origin setup here, and then we have the reversal just right here, and then we have the transition just right here, right? And now the new trend will take from when Kijun goes above SSB till this inverted Tenkan here, right? The new trend will be this till here. When Tenkan bend down above here, when Tenkan bend down here, till this is the end of the new trend. So from KSB to here is the whole new trend. Okay, so the new trend has KSB. So we know KSB, right? KSB is when Kijun goes above SSB. This is KSB here. This is the part of KSB. And then after KSB, we have KSB with TK correction, right? KSB with TK correction. KSB with TK correction. This KSB with TK correction, this part. This TK correction down here, right? We know it. Then after that, we have mini setup like Tenkan 1, 2, 3, the empty till Tenkan inverted. So let me talk about that. We have now even the Kijun setup inside the new trend. You even have the Kijun setup, the SSA setup, and then you have Tenkan touch one time, Tenkan touch second time, Tenkan touch third time. So you have 1, 2, 3 Tenkan touch. And after the Tenkan, that 1, 2, that's why I said here Tenkan 1, 2. And then you have the empty setup here, right? You have the empty setup here, the empty setup. And then after that, you have this inclination that is called the Tenkan inverted. When the Tenkan inverted start, the move is finished. Or for the stage is finished. But the highest point will be the empty, this empty part of here. The highest point will be the empty, this empty part. And then this will be the whole new trend, the whole new trend. So normally inside the document, I should have put something like this. I should have put Kijun and SSA like this. Kijun, let us say 1, 2, and then SSA. Let me try to put it on the French version. Kijun 1, 2, then. So that's what we got, like for the new trend. That's what we got for the new trend. So we have all of this. So that's exactly it, what we got for the new trend. So let's try to look at it on the other places. For this point, right, the new trend started here. and then ended up just right here. This will be the new trend. So we had here inside the Tenkan setup 2 times and then Kijun. Then the Tenkan inverted start to invert at this point. So that will be its new trend. So then we have the correction. The problem is that, right? This one is the correction because it happened after the twist. Normally, if you want to have the KSB with TK correction, it must happen before the twist in the future. So let's take this example. That's almost my principle, but sometimes it doesn't play out like that. So like in this example, this correction KSB. So this is KSB, right? We start from KSB here. But for me, the new trend goes almost till here, like this. This will be the new trend. I will take this one as KSB because it is at the same level. This KSB happened at the same level of this transition. The price didn't move too far. So on this inside this new trend, we have Kijun setup, SSA setup, Tenkan setup, till Tenkan come and invert himself again at this point. That's the whole new trend. We also have something at this level, right? Origin, reversal, transition, and then after that we have, okay, we got this whole part, this whole part. That is the new trend. Okay, this new trend created a KSB that has a KSB ticket correction almost at the same level of the transition. That's why I will take it as just KSB with ticket correction. We have here KSB. KSB is when uh, Kijun goes above SSB, and then here we have KSB with ticket correction, all of this part. But we have Kijun setup, Tenkan setup, SSA setup also here, Tenkan setup, till Tenkan come and embeds himself to the downside here. All of this is a whole new trend, the whole new trend, right? Let me take another example just right here. So from this KSB till just right here, till when the Tenkan bend down here. We have KSB with ticket correction. You have Kijun setup, Tenkan setup, right? This is the whole pattern. That's a fucking new trend, right? That's a new trend. So that's it. That's it for the for the elements. For the element. So now let's go move to the next part, the correction. How does the correction play out? How does the correction play out? So now we are in the stage 5, the correction of the Vic. Now we are on the stage 5 of the Vic. Let me try to make it cleaner. So we had here the setup. We had here the origin, the reversal, the transition, the new trend. And then at the end here, and then here's the whole correction. Okay, let us analyze this correction. As I told you, the correction is validated when Tenkan goes below Kijun at this point. So you have here the correction C. You start on the empty space, right? You have the empty setup. Then you have the inverted tenkan here. When tenkan IT, when tenkan bend down to the downside, it's already an inverted tenkan. Then after that, you have Kijun 2, 3. Kijun has been touched how many times here? On this, from when Kijun is caused, yeah, Kijun is touched one time here, but it is cancelled. This is one. This is two times Kijun is touched. This is 3 times Kijun has been touched. So we have 1, 2, 3 Kijun touch, basically. And then Kijun cancelled. Third Kijun touch normally should be cancelled. Obviously, that's what happened. That's why Tenkan went below Kijun at this level. It is not very visible if I don't zoom in. Let me then zoom inside the movement very well, like this. Then Tenkan. What did I try to say? Okay, I get it. Tenkan in correction. Okay, I will show you this Tenkan in correction on other example. On this, you will realize that there is no SSA and SSB setup for this correction. For this correction, you see that the candle did not reach to, like, the movement finish here. You see that SSB has not been touched here. SSA has not been touched. SSB has not been touched on this whole correction. What I wanted to emphasize is that, right, if you go on daily for this whole correction, let us try to go on daily. I will explain to you why I put daily here. Daily setup. Like the setup of the origin, you can also go on daily too. Some stages are impacted by daily. You can go on daily here like this. Here is the setup where we are in. You can go on daily here. You will see that this is the whole correction, right? This is the whole correction. On the daily setup, we have what? An inverted. The movement will go to the downside, but we have an inverted. An inverted daily setup, an inverted SSB, right? To the downside. We almost have a KSB on daily like this, with this one being an inverted setup, right? To the downside. So that's why I put in front here some daily setup that impact this movement. That impacted. So that was all for this correction. Let us look at this correction instead. No, let us go on USD GPY and look at it. Let's go on USD GPY and look at it. Okay, let us take this one so that I'll give you the exact version of what I'm talking. Okay. Let us suppose that we have a daily setup here. Let us say that the origin start from daily, and then we have here, no, the origin start from weekly. and then you have here the origin, right? This is the origin, and then we even didn't have nothing apart from, there is no, at this level, there is no what. If I go on weekly, was that a setup? Let me not suppose. Okay, that was a setup, a Tenkan setup on weekly. So we have no reversal, no transition. The price just created a gap. We went to the upside. We directly had a, a whole new trend, here. So now the correction started from this this to the from the MT to here. So this is the whole correction. So what do we see? We see that we have the empty setup on 4 hour, right? This is empty setup. Then we have the inverted Tenkan IT. Then we have even Kijun inside. Then you have inverted Kijun to the downside because it is the correction. So the correction, we have empty, inverted Tenkan, Kijun, inverted Kijun, inverted Kijun. Then we have Tenkan in correction 1, 2, 3. When I say Tenkan in correction 1, 2, 3, is that it is the same Tenkan, right? But since we are doing the correction, Tenkan has been touched here one time, second time, third time, before SSB is touched. Before SSB is touched, right? Before SSB is touched, Tenkan has been touched 1, 2, 3 times. This one was SSA touch, right? Then this one was SSB touch, right? But inside this downside movement, you have 1, 2, 3 times that Tenkan in correction is showing 1, 2, 3 setup. Sometimes it's 1, 2 only. Sometimes it's 1, 2, 3 before it touches SSB. That's what I wanted to show you about the correction. So if we go back on the Bitcoin, that is when the correction goes till SSB, it is the deep, even to SSA, it is a deep correction. But most of the time on 4 hour and daily, the correction will stop himself at Kijun here. So don't always have too much expectation. For example, this correction started for this move. This correction is the whole correction is just this one. You have the empty space, you have the Kijun setup till you see this. This correction ended here. A small correction, something. This is the most common movement. It stopped at Kijun and then it continued to upside. This is another correction. This is the correction. You have the empty space here, the inverted Tenkan here, the Kijun setup here. That is also the SSA setup at the same time. And then the Kijun inverted, the inverted Kijun IK till it touch SSB. Yeah, right. You see that it is looking a little bit awkward. Like when you do this price action that we all saw on YouTube, you will not see the correction going down like this. Normally, the correction go down like this. No, never. See this movement. This movement is very awkward. We start here, we go down, we do something very awkward. So if I take this whole line and drag it down, you see the movement. The movement, the movement looks non-logical, non-smoothie, non. I don't how can I tell you? Non. It is this is the natural movement of the price. This is the natural movement of the psychological of the seller and buyers. It is not this movement. This movement is fake, artificial, not AI, fake artificial, because the AI can actually create this natural movement. But this one is not, this one is the dream movement. The dream movement doesn't happen in the reality. So this is the correction, this is the normal. During the correction, you place it like this. This is the correction movement. You get what I mean, right? This is the correction movement. So don't start to draw the natural movement. It's on your job to, I will show you. So don't be afraid, or don't be asking, where do I enter, where do I exit on each of this stage. The next part will show you where do you enter, where do you take the profit. So don't be stressed about or overwhelmed about that. I'll explain to you that in the next stage. All right, so let me try to do the next example. So let us try to do a correction here. This one created many correction. Like this, the whole correction is this one. This is when Tenkan and Kijun cross back to the upside. But this is the whole correction. You see that you have the empty space, you have the Kijun setup, you have the Kijun setup 2 times. You get the point. That is the whole correction. So here we are the reversal, we don't have correction. Okay. Okay. So that's the point. That's what I wanted to emphasize on it. The correction doesn't always, the most repetitive movement is corrections. For the first time correction, second time correction, it will finish at Kijun. Rarely it goes to SSB, but I will explain to you how to spot it down. Now the last stage is the push of the trend. The push of the trend, let me try to erase this mess. The push of the trend is this part. You had this whole correction here, right? Now the push of the trend starts from when Tenkan and Kijun goes. We had this. This push of the trend P, right? So till Tenkan bend down to the downside. Okay. You have inside the push of the trend what? We have SSB setup, Kijun in cloud, Tenkan 1, 2, the empty, the Kijun 1 empty. The push of the trend give you a lot of things. You have Kijun setup, yeah. The first time from when Tenkan and Kijun cross to the upside, Kijun has been touched 1 time here. That's what I call Kijun 1. Sometimes, and you have SSA. I didn't put SSA here. You can have SSA anyway. I didn't put SSA. So this push. You have Tenkan set up somewhere here. So let's try to look at other pushes. For this push, right? Till Tenkan bend down to the downside here. You only had this part. right? You almost have only Tenkan setup and the empty setup here, empty. I try to put it in this way. Let us look at this push for this one, the push trend. So till Tenkan bend to the downside. So we have something like this for the push trend, right? We have here Kijun setup, Tenkan setup, Tenkan setup number 2, and then we have Tenkan setup number 3, 4. The fifth one just make the market fall down, and then Tenkan bend, Tenkan inverted bend down to the downside there. So what you realize is that at this point, you can have what make the market reverse is that at this point you can have a weekly a weekly a weekly setup here for the stage for the cycle to finish. This is the last part of the cycle. Now the cycle must continue to the downside. Must not reverse it and create a new cycle. So that's what you can see, you can spot on here. So what did we have at this orange line? At this orange line, we had the candle that reached the maximum highest point of the Bitcoin at $122,000, right? And then Tenkan hit the resistance to the left, and then that make the market fall down. So the push trend is the last part of the cycle. The last part of the cycle. The push trend is the last part of the cycle. So the empty here is the last movement. And then after that, the market just fall down. So what happened is that at this level, you can then start again with what? The origin for the reversal. This will be the origin. For now, the downside version, the origin, and then all of this will be the reversal, and then you have the transition at this level, the transition T. And then after this transition, we have here the new trend. The new trend. You see, right? So we have a whole something very new, something very clear about the downtrend. So this part here is a whole cycle on itself, and this part here is a whole cycle on itself too. Those are two different cycles, right? Vic. So you see that we have two different cycles, the upside cycle, the downside cycle. So created by weekly by the weekly setup. You need to understand that you need to have time frames like this. This will be the weekly, the daily, and the 4-hour, right? The cycle take its origin. The origin of the cycle is on this setup weekly, on the weekly setup. So now you draw the cycle, draw the cycle on 4 hours. And now the daily time frame will help you that during the stages, there are some stages that are impacted by daily setups. That's why I put daily here. There are some cycles that take them their movement on the daily setup. Okay. Let's talk again about the push. Let's talk again about the push here. The push trend for this one. You see that the push trend, let us be a little bit precise and details here. And details. Be detailed. Look at this. We had a small push trend only this part, right? Where you have the Kijun setup. And then we had again the correction. Number 2. And then we had again the push trend number 3. You see, it is very, when you go precisely, that's how it looks like. You see that you can have 3 push trend on a whole. No, push trend number 2. That is push trend number 1. You can have like 1, 2 push trends. Push trend number 1, push trend number 2. 2 correction. And it's not even finished. When you see this is a deeper correction, right? This is a correction, but a deeper correction number 3, that is very deep. That goes like this. With a push trend number 3, right? And then you also have correction, just this as a correction, just this as a correction number 5, a small push trend that doesn't look like a push trend, by the way. And then correction number 6, and then a push trend that goes till here like this, because there is a correction just right here. A push trend number 5, because this one was a push trend number 4. And then we had also the correction number 6 here. That is very tiny, very tiny. Correction number 6. Then a push trend again. Push trend number 7. Uh, then all of this is the reversal. All of this now is the reversal. It's the whole new cycle to downside. You see how a trend, not sometime on Bitcoin like that. One was this weekly setup that created it. Let me put this line in red. This weekly setup that created it is to have this type of push trend, 7 push trend, you need to go, that 7 push trend start from a Kijun weekly. You see, that was a Kijun weekly that created this whole 7 push trend. 7 push trend to the upside. It's not a Tenkan, a simple Tenkan, it's a Kijun weekly. Imagine then this SSB that is playing now. If you go here, let us take this setup. Let's go on 4 hours. Let us go on 4 hours. Well, it will not be cleaning. We are, what is playing now is this the origin. This is the reversal. The transition was just this part. This is the transition. This is the new trend with KSB going like this. It was very awkward. And then this is the correction till here like this. And then this is the new trend. This is the push trend. That's why we got on the present term, right? And then the market reversed down. If you go on daily, if you go on daily, the push trend finished, the 4-hour push trend finished on this daily Kijun. So you have a Kijun setup here on daily. So you have another origin for a new trend to the downside. So this is an origin, daily is also an origin. So now you have this one as the origin for a new cycle. Then you have this as the reversal. Then you have this as the transition. Then you have all of this till here as the new trend. As a new trend. So you literally have this whole cycle created by daily, a daily cycle, right? Created by daily to the downside like this. And you have this whole one created by weekly, right? Weekly cycle. You see, those are two Vegeta Ishimoku cycle, right? Two Vegeta Ishimoku cycles. So but we have not yet touched a weekly cycle for the Vic because a cycle goes from weekly to weekly, the origin from an origin to another origin. You see that the next point that we are trying to go and touch is this Tenkan on weekly. This Tenkan on weekly is still above here. This weekly Tenkan is still far above here. So on 4 hour, we have not yet reached it. But within the time that we go and touch this weekly Tenkan above here, the daily cycle can play out. Like when we touch a daily setup, the daily cycle can play out. A daily Kijun that has been touched here is been playing out now. You get what I mean? That's a Kijun, the daily Kijun that has been playing out. A little bit, right? And look at this. Look at this. If I erase all of this, you will see that we are in daily. Daily also has, this one was a weekly setup. Daily also have its origin. This is the whole origin of daily. This is the whole origin on daily. And then what is happening now on daily now is the reversal on daily, right? But if you go on 4 hour, this will be the move for daily, right? But on 4 hour, this weekly setup created this origin, this reversal. You see how it is fractal, right? This correction. I'm trying to explain to you the geometrical fractal of the market. This new trend, this transition, this new trend, this correction like this, and this push trend, this push trend. You see how it looks, all right? The fractality of the market, the daily the daily is like this as the daily stage of the cycle is like this, but in the whole daily stage, you have 4 hours, 4 hours, a whole 4 hour cycle inside, a whole week on 4 hour, yeah, vegetation cycle on only one daily cycle, on only one daily stage. You get the point? I hope you get. If you don't get it, don't forget about it. You don't get it, practice it. Repeat it and practice it. So let us do one example for the downtrend. Let us do one example for the downtrend. Let us do one example for the downtrend because I was looking only at uptrend till just recently. I was just looking at uptrend recently. Let us do the let us do the let us do a downtrend example. Let us start from here. Let us start from here. Let me go and look out. We do one downtrend example. So you go on weekly. You will realize that this weekly setup is called what? Inverted Tenkan, right? To the downside. You see that Tenkan went to the downside, yeah. This is an inverted Tenkan to the downside. So you go on 4 hour. And then you start drawing the element of the vegetation cycles. So on 4 hour, you have here what? The origin. Yeah. Then you have here what? The reversal. And then you have till here, you have what? The transition. And then this whole part will be the new trend. And then at this level, it will be from year to year. All of this will be a deep, long correction. The correction. And then when after the correction, what do we get? We have this whole this whole push trend P, right? And then from here, we finish at the end of the push trend. What do we have at the end of this push trend? For our push trend, we had a setup. So a cycle, a 4 hour cycle, start from a weekly setup and finish with a weekly setup. This is what I'm talking about a whole cycle, a whole 4 hour cycle. From the weekly setup to another weekly setup. If you have a SSB setup here, you see that we finish here with a setup. So But if you go on daily, you realize something. You realize something on this whole cycle. On this whole cycle, when you go on daily, you will see that the cycle starts also on a daily SSA, SSB, just right here. SSB touch, SSB inverted touch, something like that. SSB, we're going to the downside. Okay, SSB. And then we have a setup also, a Tenkan setup just right here. And then we have another Tenkan setup just right here. So we have a Tenkan setup just right here. We have another Tenkan setup just right here. The downside. So if you go and look at it on on 4 hour, what do you see? You see that the daily, as I told you, the correction finish on daily. See, this correction, right, has a daily setup that impacted it. The end of the correction on a daily setup. The new trend itself started on the daily setup too. Tenkan daily setup. The new trend started on a daily setup. That's why I placed this daily setup here, right? I Tenkan daily. Even the beginning of the origin sometimes start with the daily setup. At the beginning, when I started to write this document, I had this what is the button plus daily? I wrote it like this, weekly plus daily. But for the simplicity, for the sickness of the simplicity, I just place it like this. So you see that daily setup are playing out to the downside. And then you can have the fractal, the fractal for the daily, this whole down movement was what? This whole down movement was a new trend. For the daily, the whole down movement was a new trend. KSB, Kijun went below SSB and created a new trend. For the daily, this whole down movement was just a new trend. That's why when you look at it on 4 hour, is the whole daily new trend that you are trading. That's playing out. That's how the geometrical fractal of cycle is shown. Okay, so, and then this origin is the same thing as the one above. This one, the same thing as the one above. I didn't change anything particularly. Even though you see Pigeon 2, 2, 3, you see Pigeon 2, it is the same thing. So that is then the Vegeta Ishimoku cycle. That's how you know the phases of the cycle. Everything starts from the origin, reversal, transition, new trend, correction, push trend. But one thing that I want to emphasize is that the transition sometimes is not easy to spot on. Not sometimes clear. So sometimes it will be so fast. Let's look at at a weekly. See, for example, this transition. See this transition. Let us suppose that we had a setup at the bottom here. And then we had this origin, then this reversal. See the transition. The transition is really awkward. So on this whole cycle, sometimes the transition doesn't give you something. It's just a one line. one line like this. So those who will go and put and take my cycle explanation and start putting normal price movement like this, like as if everything is always normal. The transition give you something, a line like this. How do we do? That's the natural movement of price. That's the natural behavior of the price. So let us take the natural behavior of the price, other than take makeup behavior. So with that said, next.